Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. This is your host, ID Jester. Once again, we're going to be reliving and replaying an epic sports game. But before we do that this time, I just want to talk for a few minutes about what makes an epic sports game, what separates it from all the others. If we look at football as just an example, there's lots of games every week, every Sunday, where a game is won by a field goal kicker that comes in at the last second and kicks the field goal to win it with just a few seconds remaining. Does that make it an epic sports game? No, not really. Same thing with all the other sports. If we talk baseball, what makes it an epic baseball game? Is it the fact that there's a home run in the bottom of the ninth to win it for the home team? Well, I mean, that happens probably every weekend. There's a game like that. So what really makes an epic sports game out there? And what separates it from the rest of the games? And I think mostly it comes down to the fact that something unique and different happens in the game that makes it something that's not like all of the others. If we just take a look at our couple of the examples that we've already done, the Music City Miracle, the chances of Houston scoring that touchdown in the last kickoff is just very unique and different. It's not the fact that they scored a touchdown, because, I mean, there's lots of touchdowns scored. The fact that they made a trick play out of it, and there was such a controversy about whether or not it was a forward pass, a backward pass, and everything. That's what kind of drove this game to being an epic game. Same thing when we look at the Epic in Miami gameplay from a couple sessions ago. The fact that one team was going to win and then they didn't, and then the other team was going to win and they didn't, and then the other team was going to win and they didn't, and then the other team was going to win and they didn't, and this seesaw battle of your team that was going to lose, and then all of a sudden, yes, we're going to win it after all, and no, we didn't win it, and this back and forth struggle. Not many games out there have that struggle at the last 10, 15 minutes of the game where you think you're going to lose, and then all of a sudden you think you're going to win, and then no, your heart gets crushed as your team doesn't win, and then you think the other team's going to win, and they don't, and so you got hope again. So that's really what made that game so unique and special. So I think of the fact that something unique and different, and that can either be good or it can be bad. If we take Scott Norwood, for example, and the fact that he missed that field goal in the Super Bowl. If he would have kicked that Super Bowl winning field goal, I don't think that game would have been relived as one of the best Super Bowls ever, and the fact that it was an epic clash and everything. If he would have kicked that field goal and the Bills would have won, it would have been like, well, the Bills were the better team and they just were going to win. The fact that he actually missed that field goal. So for better or for worse, something unique and different happens to make the game unique and different from all of the others. Today we're going to be looking at specifically a baseball game. And of course, when we're talking about simulating any game, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, or hockey, we're not going to be able to have the computer program, whatever program we use, simulate that epic moment that happens throughout the game. Whether it's that last second touchdown run on a kickoff after the other team just kicked a field goal with just six seconds remaining on the clock, or getting that grand slam home run in the bottom of the ninth inning with 2 outs and 2 strikes, or any of those epic moments like that. We certainly can't get those awesome moments to be relived while we're playing the game, but it's fun to look back, analyze what had happened, remember what had happened, and then remember the players that were there, remember the moment that we share and think about, and then play it out again and see what would have happened if that special moment didn't happen. who would have won, uh, what players would have done certain things during the game maybe differently. Would one player have a better game or a worse game and such? So obviously we're not going to have those epic moments. And the game we're going to be playing today, there's no way for the computer game to simulate it, because we're going to go back to October 14th, 2003, Wrigley Field. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that know right off the bat, just by hearing the date, what game we're talking about. But for those of you who don't, let's go ahead and relive it first, and then we'll replay it. So let's go ahead and simulate, relive this game first, bring back the moment that we're all talking about. And that moment, of course, is October 14th, 2003 at Wrigley Field. Let's go ahead and relive the game, and then we'll talk about it before we replay it.
That's a fair ball down the left field line off the bat of Pierre. He'll make the turn and coast into second base with a one-out double. Again in the air, down the left field line. Oh, reaching into the stands and couldn't get it, and he's livid with a fan.
That's awfully close to fan interference right there. The umpire's all over it. The umpire right down there, Mike Everett's on the play. If a Lou has to reach into the stands, it's fair game for the fans to catch the ball. If the fan reaches out over the field, then it can be ruled fan interference. That is very, very close. Why?
And it's ball four to Castillo. The pitch gets away from Baco, and advancing on to third is Pierre. Into left field, a base hit by Rodriguez. He is delivered again. Pierre scores to make it a 3-1 ball game. The tying run is aboard, and the go-ahead run is coming to the plate. 2. Ground ball in the hole is short. And bobbled by Gonzalez, and everybody's safe. They weren't going to turn the double play. They certainly would have gotten the force out at second base.
Looks like Gonzalez is trying to just make this play a little too quickly. This is an easy play. You're just going to second to get one out. Get right off the heel of his glove.
Hammered down the left field line, and the game will be tied up. Scoring is Castillo. Scoring is Rodriguez. It's a 3-3 game as the frustration ends for Derek Lee. The batter in the air, right field. Plenty deep enough, you would assume, to get Cabrera home. Sosa the catch. The throw will come to the plate, and the Marlins have taken a 4-3 lead. The break they needed on the ground ball that went through the legs of Leon Durham. They scored 4 more times to win the game and win the series. That ball hammered into left center field. On the run, Alou. On the run is Walton, and it's off the ivy. 3 runs are going to score on a double by Mordecai. A 7-run Florida 8th inning. And Juan Pierre, the batter. Lined into right field, a base hit. They're going to wave around Mordecai. He will score. It is an 8-run Florida 8th inning.
Well, where do we even begin to talk about this game? There's just so many layers to it. Just so many layers to it. When we're talking about this epic sports game, there's lots of different baseball games where one team scores 7, 8 runs in a game. But the fact that it happened directly after this fan in the stands kept the ball from being caught by Moses Alou, obviously just dramatically put this game into the annals of baseball history. Just the fact that the weird play of the fan. Of course, everyone knows Steve Bartman. The name is synonymous with baseball now. Poor guy, didn't do anything wrong. And I can highly, highly recommend, if you have not watched the ESPN 30 for 30, they did a special episode just on this game alone, and it is a beautiful piece, well done. I would highly recommend that you go out and watch that, because if you're interested in this game at all, and just if you weren't there in the stadium, basically that 30 for 30 will put you there, and you will feel the love, the hate, the anguish, all the emotions you can possibly think of, which obviously we can't do in our sports simulation game. And that's kind of, what really kind of inspires this game in the annals of history and makes October 14th, 2003 such a memorable day, especially if you're a Cubs fan. Just the fact that your team, a lot of people forget that, the Marlins were dead. They were not doing anything that game. They were down 3-2. Cubs had it wrapped up. Nothing was going to stop them. Pryor was just mowing them down. They couldn't get on base. They couldn't get any hits. They were basically left for dead. And then the fan touched the ball and everything switched. And of course, all the Cubs fans and everyone there related the two together, wrongfully so, might I add. Talk about fandom in the wrong dimension there. And obviously the rest is history. A lot of people forget that, number one, there was an error that you saw by Gonzalez, the shortstop, that would have probably been a double play. Number two, even if Moses Alou had somehow reached up over Steve Bartman and caught that ball, that was only the second out. And if you watch the rest of that, the Florida Marlins actually scored 3 runs in that inning before the Cubs ended up getting another out. So at worst, the game would have been tied going into the bottom of the 8th inning, even if that play wouldn't have happened. So, and number 3, of course, this was only game number 6. The Cubs could have won Game 7, and if they would have won Game 7, this game obviously would just be a footnote. Wouldn't even be this epic game that we're reliving and thinking about and talking about. But of course, we all know the Marlins ended up winning Game 7, even though the Cubs were winning that game 5-3 at one point, or 5-2 even. I can't remember if it was 5-3 or 5-2. At one point, they were ahead, but then, of course, as Cubs do, they blew it. And because they blew it, everyone wanted to blame the fan in the stands. Anyways, let's go ahead and use our out of the park baseball 17 and relive this game. Obviously, we can just hope and pray to get a good game for you guys. I'm actually using the default lineups that happened for that day, October 14th, 2003. Kenny Lofton leading off. Mark Grill, I don't even know how to say his name, sorry. We'll just say Mark G. Of course, Sammy Sosa, everyone knows him in right field. Moses Alou trying to make the catch in left field. Ramirez there at third base. Simon Gonzalez at shortstop, where you saw dropped that ground ball that caused everyone to be safe and continued the inning on. And of course, Paul Baco at catcher. If we look at the Marlins lineup here, we have Juan Prier at center field, Luis Castillo at right, Castillo is at second, Derek Lee at first, Mike Lau third base, Ian Rodriguez catcher, Jeff Conine left field, Juan Encarnacion, I know how to say it, I just can't get it out, Right field, Alex Gonzalez at short, and of course Carl Pavano pitching today. So let's go ahead and start the game. And again, we can only hope to get a close game for you guys here. I'm actually going to look to see if there's a way to turn the volume down a little bit. Hopefully the volume won't be too loud. I'll try to talk just between the action on the field here. So obviously Mark Pryor starting the game here. And he's going to be going up against Juan Pierce here. Sorry. And is it going to be a bunt for a hit? It is going to be a bunt for a hit. No, it's actually a ground out. Actually made the play. I didn't think he was going to, but great job making the play there. Luis Castillo. Over to third, and 2 outs pretty quickly here. Deep to center, not deep enough. The ivy on the, you can see the ivy there. That's nice. All right, so nothing going for Florida in the first. Let's see if the Cubs can get on the board here. And it's going to be a lazy pop fly to center. And 1 out. Out to second base for 2 outs. And over to first. And after 1 inning, it's 0-0. So nothing going on yet with anything. The Cubs ended up getting a run in the first inning in the real life game. Obviously, we couldn't simulate that, but let's see what happens. Strike 3. He's out on strikes. And we got his pop fly deep. Not deep enough. 2 outs again. That's going to fall in for a base hit there. Jeff Conine with the base hit. Juan Encarnacion. And he's out on strikes. So 1 hit for the Marlins. Let's see if the Cubs can get a hit. Oh, right down that third base line, and he's going to get himself a double. Is he going to be thrown out? No. He's in there. Moses Alou with a double here, starting off bottom of the second. And that's going to be in there. Is Alou going to take home? No, he's not. First and third, no one out here. That's up the middle, and no, we will not send him. So Cubs 1-0. Still nobody out in this inning. That could be 2. Oh, he bobbled it though. And everyone's going to be safe. Just like the real life play where the shortstop bobbled it and let everyone be safe. This time the Marlins actually bobbled it. Error, E5, and everyone made safe. Oh, that's going to be a pop out. That's a big out. Ramirez at third, Simon at second. That's a force. We could do pitch. And since I'm running both offenses and defenses, we could Now let's just let him slip away. Is it going to be double play? No, just 2-0, and still everyone safe. Infield hit there, like Pryor with the big hit, and 3-0 here as oh, big strikeout there. Walked in a run previously. All right, 3-0. That was going to be the score all the way to, of course, that magical 8th inning. So let's see if we can hold this out. And just like in real life, Pryor is just mowing them down here. They haven't had anything going on. A pop fly with a bunt, and 3 up, 3 down. Let's see if Pavano can get his footing under him. Start getting some outs here. There's an out. Ramirez out to left field for a base hit, single. Ooh, that's pretty deep, not deep enough. Oh my gosh. I don't know how he didn't catch that. He should have been caught, but we got first and second, 1 out. Oh, big pitch there by Pavano. 2 outs. Can they get that 3rd out? And they can. Still 3-0 after 3. Still, just like in real life, Marlins not doing much offensively. And a lazy pop fly to deep center for an out. And another strikeout. And Pryor's got 4 Ks already today. Bottom of the 4th. And a lazy pop fly to center. That should be an out. It is. And to short and the out. So still 3-0 after 4. This would be really freaky if we got up to like the 8th inning. It was still 8-0. And then we had the Marlins come alive and scored a bunch of runs. That would be awesome. Can't guarantee that's going to happen though, folks. Oh, easy out there. Oh, right by the 3rd baseman there. Oh, he's going to try for 2. Did he make it? He did make it. So the way Mark Pryor is mowing them down pretty much in this game is how it was in real life. Marlins were just striking out. They were dead. They had no life. They had no, really no chance to win, it looked like. So, had a runner left on board there, but base on balls. That's going to be a pop foul. Maybe caught. Maybe caught. It is caught. That was held pretty well, but looks like it's going to be caught to the outfield. All right, we have 2 outs here. That's going to fall in. No, it's not. He come in. Center fielder came in and caught that really nice. So still 3-0 after 5. This is pretty good. And oh, it made it by single. Uh-oh, could be double play, and it is a double play. 6-4-3, and that's pretty much sums up a real life game. Anytime the Marlins got anything going, it was a double play to end it. And retired the side. Another out. To first and back to the pitcher for the outs. 3-1. 2 outs. And bottom of 6, 3-0. Let's see if we can get one more scoreless inning. That would be awesome. Oh, no, he's going to start off with a double. And that's a lazy pop fly. That should be an out. Over to first for the second out. Man on third, Mike Lau. Juan and Carcione. Oh, and to first. Is it going to be in time? No, it's an infield single, and there goes our streak. It's 3-1 now. And into center field. And that should end the inning. Oh wait, it's a foul. Oh, it's getting over there. So it's 3-1 in our game. Top of the bottom of the 7th coming up. And that's 1 out. Two outs. And that should be a third out here. Yes, it is. All right. So here it is, the famous inning. We have a pretty similar score. Of course, in real life, it was 3-0. Let's see if the Marlins can do something. Oh, well, start off with a single right up the back up the middle there. Pierce on first. Luis Castillo up to bat. Oh, looks like it's going to be a... Oh, no, he missed him. He missed the tag, so we got first and second, nobody out. Oh, and a wild pitch, so we got second and third, nobody out. And is that going to drop? It is going to drop for a base hit. It's 3-2 Cubs, man on third, man on first, nobody out. Mike Lau steps in. It's going to drop. Yes, it is going to drop. And we got us a tie ball game, 3-3, folks. Man on first and second, still nobody out. I don't know. I didn't see the ball hit Steve Bartman over here. But this is crazy that this is happening. Uh-oh. Nope, not deep enough. Not deep enough. But is it deep enough to advance? Yes, it is. Down to third, to second, to first, and double play to end it. But assuming we didn't get to see every pitch because we're doing one pitch mode, that one of those pitches we didn't see might have gone into the stands. But it's 3-3, folks. Let's see, Pryor. He's exhausted, so I think it's time to pull him. We're going to bring in Farnsworth. Chicago substitutions. Farnsworth for Pryor. Yes. back to the game. All right, Farnsworth is coming in. Juan Encarnacion. I know, I didn't say it right, but strike him out. Alex Gonzalez struck out. Wow, and Farnsworth comes in and fans out the side. Impressive. Let's see here. Pavano exhausted as well. So we're going to bring in Willis. John Terrell Willis is actually shows. Let's see, who came in after Willis? Fox. So we'll bring in Fox instead. So in real life, they brought in Willis before they brought in Fox. So we're just going to skip Willis's turn in the rotation and give it to Fox here. Bottom of 9. And struck him out. Here we have Paul Bacco. And he reaches on base on ball. He's very slow. Well, he is the catcher, so put a speedster in there for him and try and steal. Let's see. I forgot those Farnsworth. That's too bad. Yeah, we'll just let Farnsworth bunt. That's what I'll do. All right. So pitch. We're gonna pitch out. And here we're going to try and bounce. It's up, and we're going to three. Kenny Lofton, can he get a hit and end this game and end the club's frustrations, get them to the World Series? Nope, over the first 2 outs. Oh, I'm sorry, that is 3 outs. So, enjoying the extra innings, folks. On Pierce. And he's on with base on balls. We're going to pitch, and we're going to steal seconds. Not that time, we're not. Pitch, and steal second. Oh, this time he's going. And he's in there. Steals second base. Castillo. Into center, and that's going to drop for a hit. First and third, no one else. Oh, big strikeout by Farnsworth there. Big strikeout. Let's see, we got a righty versus a righty. All right, we'll keep Farnsworth in there. Ooh, and another base on balls. Do they want to play their infield normal, or do they want to play a man and see double play depth? I guess they'll leave him with double play depth. Let's see. Ooh, that's going to drop in. And the Marlins have got something going on here, folks. On top of the 10th inning, lead 5-3. Just 1 out, man on first and second. And another walk. All right, Farnsworth. All right, well, I think it might be time to bring in the next pitcher here. Actually, what does it show for Yeah, he's exhausted here, Farnsworth. Chicago, we're going to bring in Mike. Oops. Yes, I do. Alright, hopefully Mike can shut him down here. There he goes, striking him out. 2 outs, that was a big out. And Mike comes in, Mike Remlinger comes in and shuts him down. Now, looks like Chad Fox is still okay here. We got the 2, 3, and 4 hitters up, so probably just going to pitch to them. Base on balls. So we're going to look at replace. Actually, he's got a speed of 60. That's pretty decent. I was going to try and steal, but we're seeing the so-so. Maybe we should just see if we can hit a good one. Oh, struck out. 1 out. Still a man on first. I'm trying to get him over to second so we can get rid of that double play. But is it worth the risk? Ooh, double walk. This is not over yet, folks. Big double and send us. We still hope. Ramirez, the 5th hitter. Not deep enough. Could replace a Lou and try to steal second so that way we can get a hit and score 2 runs. Randall Simon. Actually, in the real life game, they replaced Simon with Karros. So we're going to do that. Where's Karros? Eric Karros. Simon for Karros. Alright, let's see if Eric Karros can continue. Now, the only thing I have to think about is Moses Alou. He doesn't have very good speed. Would it be worth replacing him with a speedster? Let's see. Can we look at... Looking to see if there's a way to Well, in case he goes into extra innings, we probably need to. I don't know. I just think we should try to replace him with somebody a little faster here. Let's see if we got somebody. So we have Damian Miller here. Doesn't tell me the speed. I guess we'll just leave him in there. Let's see if Eric Karros can continue the game for the Cubs. 2 outs, bottom of 10. Florida ahead 5-3. Let's see what happens. Oh, and that ends the game. So that is it. And of course, it will become a Game 7. Just ignore this. In our series, Florida was ahead, but I just wanted to get it to Game 6 anyways. But there it is, folks. A replay of the epic October 14, 2013 game. And you can see here, nice little replay and all the stats and everything. Obviously, out of the park of baseball 17 has a nice little information about this, and all the different players, positions. I thought that was really interesting how we got all the way to the 8th inning, 7th inning, and it was like 3-0 before finally the Marlins got a run, and then got 2 more in the was it in the 8th inning? I think it was in the 8th inning. Yes, so they got 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. They didn't get 8 in the 8th, but interesting enough, pretty good replay for considering. And obviously, the Marlins win just like they did in real life. So it's good to look back and see all these things. Hopefully you enjoyed our epic replay of October 14, 2003. Still, Marlins would have won anyways. And of course, that would have forced a game. That wouldn't have forced a Game 7. They would have won the series because they were. I'm sorry. That would have forced a Game 7 because they win. Then, of course, that causes this game, all-important Game 7 between the Cubs and Marlins, which, of course, in real life, Marlins won. So, hopefully you enjoyed a look back at October 14, 2003 in our epic sports game replay. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.